Welcome to the Tapestry podcast, where fashion stories are woven one thread at a time. I'm your host, Ina Korobkina, actress who played Luda in Dawn of the Dead, that pregnant chick who succumbs to a zombie scratch and gives birth to a zombie baby. So ironically, I have come back to life to birth this podcast, dedicated to exploring the blossoming world of creativity and beauty amidst the AI revolution. This program is brought to you by Jewel Branding Studios, a style consulting agency that helps you tell your unique story, one creative outfit at a time. Welcome to the Tapestry podcast, Nimisha Mehta. I'm so grateful that you could join me today.
Thank you so much, Ina. I really appreciate you and your invite. I'm so glad to be here.
This podcast is dedicated to sharing fashion stories and exploring the transformative nature of clothing. And I have a theory that finding our personal style it's a journey. Life's moments woven together to create a tapestry, a rich tapestry that is our life. And so I'm so curious to learn more about your memorable fashion stories and moments and how they define your work as a confidence and personal identity expert. What inspired you to become a coach and help women to tap into their inner power by aligning how they show up on the outside?
Well, for me, fashion, I thought it was very trivial to begin with. So it was, for me personally, it was a journey to finding the joy of fashion. And I love that I found so much joy in understanding my own attachment to fashion and how that empowered me. So that's what I help my clients with. So for me, it was a journey from what I say outside in, is that I created my own, I curated my own wardrobe to match what I was feeling on the inside and vice versa, right? I wanted my outside to be an inspiration to what my inside energy of what I was showing myself to be in the mirror. And that to me is very powerful, is when you look in the mirror, what do you see? What do you feel? And how does that change how you're going to show up in the world for the rest of the day?
Yeah, absolutely. When we were on the phone call, you were saying that part of your journey involved spending a lot of time in the hospital and on a healing journey. And so I'm curious to find out how you curated your wardrobe to start playing the new part that you wanted to play in terms of the healthy lifestyle that you were aiming to achieve. So what are some of the pieces that you added to your wardrobe to help you with that?
I began, and you and I talked about this, is that I began with lingerie, which is not standard. I didn't get a new wardrobe or go very subtle. I went for the throat. For me, it was just I had done all the mindset work, so I wanted to go for the throat because I wasn't able to physically see the person that I was changing in the inside. So for example, I knew I had learned about boundaries and mindset change and affirmations and things like that, but it just wasn't connecting. It wasn't connecting. I wasn't able to see the CEO in the mirror. So what I did is I started wearing beautiful lingerie, which for me, in my culture and in my life, was basically a taboo. For me, I've always thought that lingerie is connected to looking good for the guy. I've never thought of lingerie as looking good for me. It's never been a personal thing. It's always been, a part of an intimate setting. So I needed to change that mindset, which I did, that this is for me. It's not for anyone else to see. It's for me to feel the way I feel when I wear it. And so I started with lingerie. I started doing mirror work and affirmations in my lingerie and started becoming more and more comfortable with that. So that was the first step for me. The second step for me, and I'm wearing a red lipstick for you today, was red lipstick. It's pretty bold. It's not something that I did in the past ever. It's just not a color I had ever picked up in all of the years. Even in my younger 20s or whatever, I had never picked up the color red. So that's another thing that I went for the throat. I said, let's pick up the color red. And now my favorite color is red.
It looks beautiful on you. I love it. I
Thank
love it.
you.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Soviet Union, and finding a bright shade of lipstick was very difficult, or so I heard because I was too young to experience it myself. But I heard of women standing in line to get a pair of jeans or to go to a black market to find an interesting shade of lipstick just for the opportunity to stand out and be different from everybody else. So it's these stories from our childhood that also kind of paint our perspective on fashion and how we view the world. And speaking of that, I wanted to dive deeper into your childhood and some of your early fashion memories. What what was one memory from childhood that made you realize how beautiful and powerful fashion and style could be?
So I grew up, and I love the story of you saying that there are these women who were standing in line to get these brighter color lipsticks and jeans. It's such an exciting, because I mean today's world wouldn't even understand that at all. So it's exciting for me to hear that, because I was brought up in East Africa, and for me it was the same. You know, you couldn't get a lot of things that you would get in the U.S. or in the U.K. But you made do with what you had, and you made it fantastic. And so my childhood was based in East Africa, but I am brought up in an Indian family. So I remember this one incident that I could share with you that will give you a glimpse of what my mindset was about fashion as a child. My mom and we were getting ready to go to one of these Indian functions at the temple. And usually, I'm not sure if you've seen Indian wear, but it's all sparkles and bright colors and this jewelry. And so as a kid, I loved it all. You know, these bangles that make noise and these anklets that make a lot of noise. So I still love that as a child. So my mom would get me dressed first, you know, ready to go, and then she would go and get herself dressed. And so that's what happened. And she came out fully dressed, and we were ready to leave, literally ready to leave at the door. And I saw what she was wearing, and I threw a tantrum. I said I wanted to. So she was wearing. So you know, there's a hair piece that you wove into like a plait, right? And so she had done that for herself. And I threw a tantrum. I said, I want what you're wearing. Not a newer one. I want the one that you're wearing.
How
So
old were
she
you?
must have been 7, 8. She had to take down her hair. She had to unplait her own hair, plait it into mine, and she had to go with like open hair because there wasn't enough time.
That that was so kind of her to accommodate you.
Really
Very
was. So
sweet.
she remembers that incident she recites it all the time. She was like, "Excuse me, you with your fashion would make other people take off stuff that they were wearing because it looked too good and you wanted to look good." So I think I have a relationship with fashion and I've never done that to my mom again, thankfully. I feel very strongly when it comes to colors, patterns, and just because my culture is so engrossed in these types of expressions, which is jewelry, especially, that, as I told you, making noise and things like that, but also colors and how they show up on your body. And less makeup, more just patterns and colors and how they show and sparkles and how you show up in those garments, which are stunning.
Yes, stunning and also transformative. They make us feel so good when you wear a little bit of sparkle and something that makes a joyful sound.
I would say I think that is the closest association a girl feels to what you can say a princess, but in my word, I would say a goddess because in
Mm.
Indian sort of scriptures, we have a lot of female goddesses that dress that way. So for Indian girls, I think they feel more goddess-like when they wear things like that. Whereas, in the American culture, it would be wearing like a poofy dress and be a princess. This
Hmm.
would be my equivalent to looking like a goddess.
Beautiful. Now, in your bio, you talked about this idea of losing ourselves and getting stuck in people pleasing. At which point do you think in your life, because you kind of lost yourself and you had to rediscover yourself through clothing, At which point do you feel like you might have lost yourself? Do you
Oh,
remember?
yes, from a very young age, I feel I lost myself. It was when society, and this is again because of the culture that I come from, the females are told to dress a certain way because of the fact that, think of it this way, think of a girl being told that her entire family's honor is placed on her shoulders on how she dresses,
Wow.
how she
That's a
shows, how
big,
she speaks, how she shows up in
yeah.
life. So, and these are very young girls, right? I'm talking about puberty, 10, 12, 13-year-old girls are told that the entire clans, I know, I know. I can see your face, but this is what we're told, and this is not just by our families. This is told by society. So even if your parents aren't there to tell you that, the society will make sure that they tell you that you're not dressed appropriately. So it's one of those things where you lose your sense of self and your sense of self-expression, especially when it comes to sexuality. For example, wearing shorts is a big taboo when it comes to girls aging further than maybe 10 years old, because then it's too sexual. So you better not wear those, because then you're not a good girl anymore. And so you people please and you want to be a good girl, so you stop wearing the things that give you joy. And I went through the same thing. I feel like at the age of 40 is when I realized that I needed to stop doing that. And that's when, after so many years, I started wearing things that gave me joy, that made me feel like a woman that was expressing what she felt on the inside that particular day. So, for example, if I want to feel a certain way, I can wear those clothes and show up that way, even if it could be something that is more sensual. It's okay for me to embrace my sensuality instead of people pleasing the world and letting them decide that I am whatever label it is that they want.
That is a powerful shift. And just to comment on what these little girls must have been feeling and what you must have been feeling, it's just a huge responsibility to have that put on your shoulders of how you show up affects everybody else, so to speak, in the clan. I find leaving the old self behind, we form this identity, and that identity is expressed through the clothing, is very difficult. It's unnerving and uncomfortable. What was the journey like for you? How long did it take? What were the steps? And how did you continually show up and remind yourself to show up and spot those little moments of sabotage that might make you go back to the old way?
That's such a great question, because sabotage is, it's just waiting. It's waiting in the wings to show up and take over the mind and the mindset. And so it shows up for me many times as a voice in my head saying, "Who are you to wear that?" Or "Who are you to think that you could look good in that?" It's those voices. But truthfully, it's also the societal voice of, isn't that too revealing? Are you showing up as a so and so? A label. I will label myself immediately if I pick a certain garment. And what it took for me was the continuous work in front of the mirror, being completely bare in almost nothing, because I was willing to do that and say to myself, this is who I really am. I am this powerful being who's showing up in front of the mirror completely bare and saying, I accept and love all of you. Every single part of you is loving and beautiful. And so when I would wear something that would make me feel sexy or beautiful or soft or powerful, I would say to myself, but what is it that you want to feel? And let's say the word is, I want to feel powerful. Then is this garment helping you do that? That's all it is. It's a tool to help you feel a certain way. It's not a tool to cover your body. because that's what I've been told my whole life. That's what you've been told your whole life, is that clothes just cover your body. I've told myself, at least taught myself to think this way, is that clothes are self-expression. They're not just there to cover your body. They have a dual function. So I had to remind myself over and over again, there's a dual function here. So do you really want to feel powerful, or do you want to bring yourself down by labeling yourself? Also, another thing I want to add is the world is going to label you anyway. So why
True.
do you want to be one of the people that are going to bring yourself down? The world will label you. No matter what you wear, you could wear a sack and somebody will label you.
There's also the other function of telling a story with your wardrobe. So you wear something and it makes you feel something,
Yeah.
and then it covers you up. And then there's the storytelling aspect. What story do you usually like to tell with the clothing that you wear, especially when you work with your clients and are on a mission to make them feel empowered and beautiful?
Oh, I love this question. So everything I buy now, if I do buy a new outfit, or if I put together an outfit in my closet with whatever pieces I already have, it's always a story. It's always how do I want to feel? What am I going to do today? How is the outfit going to be almost like a shield? I'm going to call it a shield. It's not a shield. I know that I'm just expressing myself, so I'm still vulnerable, but it's still a shield of armor that I
Yes.
wear, right? That
Yes.
makes me feel invincible.
Hmm.
And there are very few people that realize this, is that the first impression you make on any human being is going to be through the eyes. They're going to look at you first. And for those of you who for those people who can't see, it's usually your voice. So those are the two things that show up usually as the first impression. I remember always, if I wear this outfit, what is the first impression that I have of the girl in the mirror? I never ask myself, what is the first impression somebody else will have of me?
Oh, that's wise. I love that. Yes. I was exploring a speech in my Toastmasters and kind of diving deep into psychology and physics and this idea of the observer effect. And I want to run this idea by you because now that you've said what you said, I'm like, maybe I have my theory wrong. But when we get dressed, the conscious act of getting dressed, we are in essence observing ourselves and inviting observation. So when we go out and we're being observed by another human being, it is ourselves observing us. So I don't know if that makes sense.
It's
or
true. No, you're absolutely right. We don't dress for ourselves, we dress for other people. Everybody always dresses for other people, whether they like it or not. Even if you're wearing, even if you say, I don't really care about how I dress, I'm just going to put on a pair of track pants and a t-shirt. I really don't care what others think of me. You actually do. We all grew up thinking that we're dressing for the world. Because if you truly were dressing for yourself, then you would do the things that bring you joy. For example, when you were a child, you did dress for yourself. So and there is, I don't have children, but I have many friends who do. And the stories you hear is that, yeah, my child decided to dress themselves today. And then the photo you see is like, you know what I mean? Like mismatched
Totally.
socks and like different colors and patterns. And this person is like a mishmash of everything. But that child is going to school dressed that way. That person, that little person, is dressing for themselves.
Yes. Yes. So authentic. My daughter was into the princess phase for the longest time. It was all tutus and princess outfits. And now she's a little athlete and everything's sports gear and sweatshirts and sweatpants, and she's happy. So, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. This is such a unique, because when you have children, you get to see that part of you as well. When
Mm.
you don't have children, you just, go on with your life as an adult and you forget. So for us to connect with our inner child is so important. How would your inner child want to dress themselves right now? Now that you have all of the fashion, knowledge, and you have a beautiful wardrobe filled with so many clothes that you've picked out that you feel are pretty and would look lovely on you. How would you dress yourself? How would you put it all together? Look in the mirror and say, I look so good today. I'm so happy to step into the world, work, school, whatever, to say, I dressed myself for myself. So few people do this. And that's what it is. It's the frequency that is created from that small joy that you've brought yourself first thing in the morning is going to it's going to increase as the day goes on. When people start noticing you, they're not going to notice your clothes, they're going to notice your frequency. People are drawn to frequency so often, but
Absolutely. Yeah.
we think it's the clothes. I'm telling you, I was sitting in a restaurant the other day, and there were a couple of ladies, and they were definitely well above like 60. And they were wearing the most beautiful poofy dresses with hats. And they were there, yeah, and they were there, and they were taking photos of each other and doing like little walks and things. And I'm thinking influencer, right? So definitely in the influencer market somewhere. But I walked up to one of them and I said, you look so beautiful. You're fantastic. Everything was matching. She had pearls on, and it was so awesome. I loved seeing this lady. And the face that lit up was it was magical how her face lit up because she got a compliment from me. I genuinely thought she looked amazing, but her energy drew my energy to her, and I gave her a compliment, and her energy just burst out, thinking, this was exactly why I dressed this way, because I feel like a diva. I just basically acknowledged and confirmed the fact that she really was a diva.
It's something so special in being recognized and seen by the
Exactly.
world. That's so beautiful.
So you
Wow.
show up in a certain way, trust me, that energy will be sensed for one, appreciated for two, and then come back to you.
Yes, yes, it grows, it multiplies exponentially for sure. I
Exactly.
believe that too. What is your favorite piece in your wardrobe right now?
So there are a few rings that I really love. Those are my favorite pieces that I add to most of my outfits. Another thing that I find really just I like luxurious feeling clothes now. So, for example, something that makes me feel very soft and feminine, whether it's something like this butter yellow color or something that's silk. So, I've bought a couple of really new pieces that are more based on how they feel on my body because it makes me appreciate the workmanship. And also, I know it's going to last a long time in my wardrobe. So a
Yeah.
lot of my favorite pieces are now how luxurious they feel on the body.
I'm so glad you said that. Like, first of all, with accessories and jewelry, that is so simple.
Yeah.
Anybody could do that. And so I'm so glad that you reminded us of that. And then we talk about feelings a lot throughout this conversation. And I'm so glad that you brought up the details like fabric to this conversation because in order to feel something, we actually have to tap into all the little details that make up that piece of clothing, the fabric, the neckline, the sleeve, the hemline, the print. And that's what makes fashion so personal, I feel, is that it's identifying those pieces that bring you joy and they might not bring someone else joy. That's why it's so personal and so intimate. It's really tapping into the moment, looking at that piece and studying it and going, does it make me feel beautiful? Does it bring me joy?
The print, the cut of it is also really powerful. For example, a bodycon dress will make you feel a certain way, as opposed to a Audrey Hepburn cut. Will make you feel a certain way. I'm more of the Audrey Hepburn type of person than the bodycon, and it's just the cut of the actual piece. It could be the same fabric, it could be the same color, but the actual cut of it and the structure and the silhouette completely changes how you feel inside it.
Absolutely, yeah. Like the A-line dress or A-line skirt has a very youthful feel to it. Like you think of a doll wearing the A-line, as opposed to, like you were saying, the sheath dress or body conscious dress. It's a different story that we're telling with this one piece.
So it's so interesting that you and I are talking about this, because there are very few people who realize what they're like. For example, what is your brand? You are a brand. You know, you're walking out of the house, you are a walking brand.
Yes.
You are completely a walking brand. So what brand are you? And I always say that I am more feminine than masculine in the way I dress. Nothing wrong with either, or you could be in the middle, but I am very feminine in the way I dress. So I will always choose anything that has more of a feminine cut. And more, as you said, more girly. Like if it's a twirl, I will buy it. So,
I love it.
but again, it's very feminine to want to twirl. It's very girly to want to twirl. And there are other women who are just like, no, I don't like poofiness. I don't like anything that goes, beyond a certain circumference. For me, the wider the circumference, the better.
It's so great that you know that, because look, if you look at the statistics, most people wear only 15% of what's hanging in their closet 85% of the time. And this is what I love about what you do and what I do as a stylist, is that we help people tap into their authenticity and remind them of the things that bring them joy. Because it's all about filling your closet up with the pieces that have meaning to you and make you feel good. What makes you feel good is different from what makes me feel good. So it's just clarifying, like, who are you? What is your brand? How do you want to show up? What do you want to wear to tell the story that you want to tell? So, yeah,
Love
yeah,
it. Love it. I love
clarity.
what you're saying, because it's so true. Our brands are so different. It could be similar, but they're never the same. That's
Yeah.
how unique each human being is.
For sure. Well, I love that we're having this conversation also because I think there's others like us who have a similar message. And as I scroll through Instagram and I follow new accounts, this message is blossoming. I see it. And actually, interestingly enough, in different spaces. So you and I are talking about fashion, but there's the painters and the sculptors and the rug designers, and everybody's coming together and talking about this idea of authenticity and creativity and a spark
Yeah.
happening and creating in the moment,
Yes.
as opposed to regurgitating what someone else wore. And this is
Yeah.
what we've been missing for the longest time. Fashion tells us this look is fashionable. And then
Yes.
a lot of us run to the store and we try to recreate
Yeah.
what the magazine or the pamphlet showed us, but it still doesn't align with our authenticity.
It's so true. Imitation is going to only make you feel more part of the world, that makes you feel uniform, rather than stand out and be unique. I don't want to be uniform. It just,
That's, yeah,
you know what I mean?
excellent.
I just don't want to be uniform anymore. And I wish I'd had this kind of, aha moments when I was younger. But at 40, what you get when you lose, the 20s, what you do get at 40 when you get these aha moments is the fact that now I'm able to have the wisdom to go with it. The wisdom of, I don't really care what you think of me. So if you think I'm fantastic, well, you have great choice. But if you don't, then that's okay. It doesn't bother me as much. Whereas in my 20s, it probably would have.
Same, same. There's such wisdom that comes with getting older. And I don't know if I would change anything. Like, I would give my younger self the same advice, but I don't know if I would have had the capacity in my 20s to understand the advice I'd be sharing with her from the perspective of a 40-year-old. I just don't know. I think we have to make mistakes. And boy, I've made a ton of fashion mistakes. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing my mistakes with my viewers and my followers, because I want to save them money when they go shopping and save them that closet space. Because when we buy the wrong piece that doesn't align with our authentic self, we're filling up our closet and losing clarity.
Yes, very true. It's so true. People think that getting a new wardrobe is the answer to being a different person. And I'm like, yeah, no, you're the same person. You're going to buy that stuff, wear it for a couple of months, and then go back to the stuff you were wearing before because you are still the same person. So the pieces that you buy, make sure that the mindset goes with it. The mindset that was old leaves your closet and your mind and your life, and a new mindset comes in with the new clothes you're buying. That's the only way that you're going to continue to be the person in front of the mirror, of course, that you want to be. That ideal self, it's not easy without mindset. You can wear the fanciest clothes and feel like a complete fake.
For sure. Yeah. So how do you teach mindset to your clients?
Oh, great question. It has to go down to what they feel the ideal self really is. And for some, it is that girl is the ideal I can never be. And that's the mindset that is harming their self expression, but also creating a barrier between them and that girl. And I don't mean the same body or the same face or the same whatever. Of course, we have different features. Of course, we have different body types and things. So, yes, of course, physically, you are not her. But to understand that that girl has a better body and I don't have a good body is to understand that somebody else is above you. You've put them on a pedestal. I call it the Barbie syndrome. We can't all be Barbies. Well, why do we want to be Barbies?
Exactly.
Why would you like to be a Barbie? Why don't you want to be yourself? You're created very beautifully by, nature and your own mindset and your own journey. Imagine someone who shows up and loves themselves the way they are in their present moment. Of course, your weight is going to go up and down. You're going to have more wrinkles later on in your life. That's fine. I'm not talking about physical appearance. I'm talking about how you feel in the present moment today. If that is a mindset of, I feel so fantastic about who I am, then you feel that you're a contributing factor to the world. Whereas when you feel like that Barbie looks better than you, then you feel like she's a contributing factor to the world and you don't.
It's very much what you were saying earlier, that there's a frequency and an energy that we show up in. And so if we're trying to be like the Barbie and we're not being ourselves, that disconnects us from our authenticity and lowers our frequency.
Yes.
So
And then you're going to start dressing like her, but she dresses the way she wants to. You dress the way she wants to. So the connection really is you are connecting yourself with her ideal self. I want my clients, which is what I say to them, I want you to create an ideal self for yourself. I want you to look at yourself as Beyonce did as Sasha Fierce. Create a Sasha Fierce. I don't want you to look at a Barbie that's already there. I want you to create one of your own. That's what Beyonce did. She created Sasha Fierce for stage because she didn't feel like she was able to step into that energy. So she created one out of the blue. And when you create things out of the blue, guess what? You can create whatever you want.
I love it. Before we wrap up, is there any parting advice that you would give to someone who is feeling disconnected, who's not feeling beautiful, and is struggling with tapping into their confidence?
The first thing I would say is that I've been where you are. I've been exactly in a lowest of my lows. I've felt not pretty, not enough, and basically useless. And all of that was coming from me not having enough faith in my own talents, in my own gifts, and in my own self. So if you are in an environment where nobody else is helping you in terms of self-image or helping you in terms of giving you words of affirmation that you are beautiful, you are amazing, we do love you. If you are in an environment where you are not receiving that, you're going to have to give that to yourself. So my advice to anyone out there because when we're in a loving environment, we don't worry about, feeling confident. Other people are already telling us we're amazing. But when you're in an environment where you are not told that, so the words of affirmation have to come from you. The love has to come from you. The kindness has to come from you. So I would say to anyone who's in that position, please do this for yourself. Try to recognize what your gifts and talents are and value them, even if the world has zero value for it. No, you may say, I have stunning, beautiful eyes. Say that to yourself if nobody else is saying that to you. Focus on at least 3 points in your body when you look in the mirror, 3 points that you absolutely love about yourself. There's no like, but if my eyes were a little bit, no, I love my eyes. Best feature on my face are my beautiful, stunning eyes. Keep those in mind every time you look in the mirror.
Certainty. Say it with certainty.
Absolutely.
Embody it. Actually, to add to that question, did you tap into any physical activities to start loving your body? Did you dance? Because I found from you did. Okay. Yes, because you could, sometimes I feel like you can look in the mirror and say, I love myself and do all those affirmations, but there's nothing more powerful than actually physically connecting and with your body through movement. So what kind of things did you do to tap into like owning your body and feeling your body? Because when we feel our body, we also feel that dress that we're wearing, and it enhances us, it helps us.
Oh
But
my God,
we bring the dress meaning. The most important thing to add is like, if we're feeling our best, the dress is there as a symbol, but we bring it meaning. So yes, that's the question. Like, what did you do physically?
I love this question. Yes, I absolutely did. I love to dance. I've danced alone in my room since I was a little kid. It's usually Bollywood music. So it's very, it depends on whatever you choose, but it's very upbeat usually. And I was not able to do sexy dances because, as I told you, I came from a background where I was like, oh, that's taboo. So I tapped into that. I tapped into the sexy songs because for me, that was a self-expression that I wasn't able to express all these years, which was sensual dance. I did so much of that. Again, another thing was heels. Dance in heels, if you can.
Okay. I have not tried that yet. There's some classes that I've been wanting to take, specifically dancing in heels. There's actually a local school near me, so I'm so inspired. I'm going to go and try
Please
that.
do it. So that's what I'm doing. So I bought these dance heels, specially made for dancing in. And they're these sexy high-heeled shoes that are just making me feel incredible about who I am and how I express myself because of the movement. And I'll start posting more videos on it.
You really should. Oh my gosh. So to sum up, sexy, lacy, bright underwear and
Yes.
heels and jewelry. Those are like the
Yes.
three. I love
Yes,
it.
girl, and red lipstick. Do not
And
forget
red
the red
lipstick.
lipstick.
Yes.
These are essentials if you want to do this work on your own, then these four are the most essential that again, if you feel like, oh, I've already been the sexy girl, then you be the cute girl because you've never done that before. Tap into places where you've never been before because that's the only way you're going to really know if you are that girl or if you aren't. Try to figure out who you really are first. That's the only way your closet is going to reflect who you genuinely want to be. So try everything, but I'm telling you, for women, just to feel sexy in shoes and red lipstick and lingerie and dance, I think it's a universal language.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. Yes. Like I was saying earlier, you have to explore, you have to make mistakes. You've tried out that character, you've tried out that form of dress and it doesn't align with you. That's okay. Try something else until you tap into that. This feels like me. this feels good. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue building my wardrobe in this direction. One last question before we part ways. How can people work with you?
So I have a group coaching coming up. I want to create a program where a lot of these women get more support from each other, as well as learn through figuring out that ideal self, because that's where we're getting to. We can use that ideal self for so many different scenarios, whether it's work, whether it's fun, whether it's dating, whatever it is. So I want them to be able to do this together instead of solo. I will post it out very soon. So find me on Instagram, and that's at the Nimisha Mehta, and I will post more on this. But of course, I will keep sharing what I learn through my own journey as well. So more videos on dancing with heels on, and so on and so forth. So if you just want to have fun and want to see someone guide you through that, then yeah, definitely welcome to my journey as well, to getting to where I'm going, because I'm still going. I'm not stopping. I'm still headed towards my ideal self, which I will say I haven't reached yet.
It's a process for sure.
Yeah.
It's not the destination, it's the journey. So yeah, life is a series of moments woven together to create a rich tapestry. And I'm so glad that we were able to create this little thread and weave a little story together today. So again, thank you for joining me and sharing your wisdom. I really, really appreciated you showing up and sharing everything that you shared.
Thank you, Ina. I appreciate you so much. I'm so glad that I'm on your podcast. And when you told me I was one of the first ones, I was like, this is so exciting. So I wish you on this beautiful transformational journey of yours just so much love, so many blessings, and so much positive energy.
Thank you. I receive it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Tapestry podcast. Chances are, if you resonate with the content I shared today, you might be on a journey to finding your authentic voice and your unique message for the world. If that is the case and you're navigating speaking in public, then my Styled to Speak program is perfect for you, because the outfit we custom designed for you together will help you make the most out of the 7 seconds it takes to make that first impression on stage. Speak with conviction and allow your signature stage outfit to add to that conviction. Visit jewelbrandingstudios.com to learn more. That's JEWEL brandingstudios.com.